Welcome back my channel Coin Collector's World. Today, we are going to explore a coin that on the surface looks like nothing more than pocket change, but hidden within it lies a story of history, mystery, and fortune. We are talking about the United States 1-cent penny from the year 1971, struck at the Denver Mint and marked with the small but significant letter D. Think about how often we overlook pennies. They sit in cash drawers, scatter under couch cushions, and often end up in piggy banks or forgotten jars on shelves. Most people see them as almost worthless, a coin that has lost its power in modern life, where even the cheapest items cost far more than a cent. But here's the fascinating truth: within the world of coin collecting, even the smallest coin can carry incredible value. The 1971 D penny is one such coin. Billions were minted, and yet, among those billions are rare examples that transform from a simple piece of copper into something worth thousands upon thousands of dollars. That's what makes this story so captivating. It's not just about money, it's about discovery, history, and the thrill of knowing that something extraordinary could be hiding in the most ordinary place. Now, let's travel back to 1971. The United States was in the middle of a cultural shift. Music was changing, technology was advancing, and the Vietnam War was shaping the era. Amid all of this, the U.S. Mint continued its work of producing the coins that kept the nation's economy moving. At the Denver Mint in Colorado, billions of pennies rolled off the presses. Each one carried the same design, the face of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. The design itself is worth pausing on. Abraham Lincoln's portrait had first appeared on the penny in 1909, to mark the centennial of his birth. This was a groundbreaking decision at the time, because it was the first time a real person had been featured on an American coin. Over the decades, that image became iconic, and by 1971, it was instantly recognizable to every American. On the back, the Lincoln Memorial design had been introduced in 1959, replacing the simple wheat stalks of the earlier design. This new reverse honored the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth, and its detail was remarkable. If you look closely with a magnifying glass, you can even see a tiny figure of Lincoln seated inside the memorial. So how did a coin so common become a legend among collectors? The answer lies in rarity and condition. Out of the billions minted, most pennies were struck quickly and carelessly, intended only for everyday transactions. They became scratched, worn, and discolored through use. But once in a while, a coin slips through the cracks in perfect condition, untouched, uncirculated, and flawless in its details. These coins are the jewels collectors dream of finding. And sometimes, minting errors add another layer of rarity, creating coins that are one of a kind. Collectors spend years, sometimes even lifetimes, searching for these treasures. They study the tiniest details, a doubling of a date, a faint misalignment, or a sharpness of strike that makes one coin stand apart from millions of others. The 1971 D penny, in particular, has captivated their attention because of the extraordinary values it has achieved in auctions. But before we get to those staggering numbers, let's step deeper into the world of coin collecting and understand why people are so fascinated with coins in the first place. Because at the heart of it, this isn't just about money, it's about history you can hold in your hand. Today, we are going to explore a fascinating story from the world of American coins, one that proves that even the smallest piece of change in your pocket could secretly hold incredible value. The star of our video is the United States 1-cent penny from the year 1991 without a mint mark. At first, it might look just like any other penny, but by the end of this video, you'll see why it has captured the imagination of collectors and how it can be worth an unbelievable amount of money. Let's start with a little background. The Lincoln cent, introduced in 1909, is one of the longest-running coin series in American history. It was originally created to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, and since then, it has become one of the most iconic coins in the world. The front, or obverse, of the coin features the dignified profile of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. The reverse in 1991 still displayed the Lincoln Memorial, a design that had been in place since 1959. For over 3 decades, this design was struck billions of times, making it a familiar sight to nearly every American. Now, let's zoom in on the year 1991. That year, the Philadelphia Mint produced pennies without a mint mark. This wasn't unusual. Philadelphia traditionally left off its mint mark on cents until 2017. So when you find a 1991 penny without a letter underneath the date, it's not automatically rare. But here's where the story gets interesting. Within those millions of pennies, a tiny fraction exists in exceptional condition, coins that never entered circulation, coins with sharp details, blazing luster, and nearly flawless surfaces. These are the examples that collectors dream about. Think about it for a moment. The vast majority of 1991 pennies ended up rattling around in pockets, sitting in piggy banks, or being tossed into vending machines. They've been scratched, worn down, and even corroded over the years. Finding one that has survived untouched, preserved as if it had just left the mint, is like finding a needle in a haystack. That's why professional grading services like PCGS and NGC are so important. They carefully evaluate coins and assign them a grade on the Sheldon scale from 1 to 70. A coin that reaches the very top of that scale, known as Mint State 69 or Mint State 70, is a breathtaking rarity. Collectors know that condition drives value. A 1991 penny that looks ordinary might only be worth a cent. One in decent uncirculated condition could bring in a few dollars. But when you climb into the highest levels of perfection, the price skyrockets. These are the coins that make headlines at auctions, the ones that turn everyday pocket change into treasures worth more than a brand new car. It's this possibility that keeps the hunt alive for so many collectors. Imagine searching through rolls of pennies, carefully inspecting each one under a magnifying glass, and suddenly realizing you're holding a coin that looks flawless. The thrill of that discovery is what makes coin collecting so addictive. And when that coin happens to be a 1991 no-mint mark penny in near-perfect condition, you're not just holding history, you're holding a potential fortune. Stories like this remind us that coin collecting is full of surprises. It teaches patience, attention to detail, and a deep appreciation for the artistry and history behind every coin. Each penny tells a story of the year it was made, the people who handled it, and the journey it has taken through time. And sometimes, just sometimes, those stories end with incredible value. So now comes the big reveal. You might be wondering, how much has the finest known example of the 1991 no-mint mark penny actually sold for? Well, brace yourself, because the highest reported price for this little copper-plated coin reached the unbelievable sum of $40,000. Have you ever stopped to wonder if the smallest coin in your hand could hold the power to change your life? A penny, something so ordinary that most of us barely notice it, has an incredible story to tell. People often leave pennies behind at counters, toss them into jars, or let them sit forgotten in old drawers. But once in a while, a single penny turns out to be worth more than anyone could ever imagine. Today, we are going to explore the fascinating mystery of the 1992 United States 1-cent coin without a mint mark, a coin that has stunned collectors and proven that sometimes the smallest things carry the biggest surprises. The penny has been part of American history since the late 1700s. Over time, it has changed in design, in size, and even in the metals used to make it. But one thing has remained the same: the penny has always been considered the lowest value coin in circulation. It is the coin we overlook, the one we rarely treasure. Yet that perception has been challenged again and again when rare varieties are discovered. Coins with errors, unusual details, or missing marks suddenly become the focus of serious collectors willing to pay thousands of dollars to add them to their collection. By 1992, the Lincoln penny had already been in use for over 80 years. Abraham Lincoln's portrait had been on the front since 1909, and the Lincoln Memorial design had been on the back since 1959. In those years, billions of pennies rolled out of the United States Mint. Most of them were perfectly ordinary. But in that massive sea of copper-plated coins, a small group emerged with something very unusual. They were missing the mint mark. Normally, every penny carries a small letter beneath the date, showing which mint produced it. A D for Denver, an S for San Francisco, or none at all if it came from Philadelphia. But here is where things get tricky. In 1992, some pennies were struck without a mint mark at all, even though they were not supposed to exist that way. This simple omission turned an everyday coin into a rarity. And the moment collectors realized it, the hunt was on. Imagine this. Billions of coins flow through the economy every single year. They pass through hands, registers, banks, vending machines, and jars. Somewhere in that flow, a tiny handful of coins that look almost identical to the rest are hiding in plain sight. The only difference is that missing mint mark, a detail so small you might miss it if you blink. But if you catch it, you could be looking at a fortune. Stories have circulated in the coin collecting community of people finding rare coins completely by accident. Someone empties their pocket change, notices something a little off, and suddenly they're holding a coin worth more than their entire wallet. That is the magic of coin collecting. You don't have to be rich or an expert to make a discovery. All it takes is a sharp eye and a bit of luck. The 1992 no-mint mark penny is exactly the kind of treasure that inspires collectors to keep searching. Why does a small mistake like this matter so much? The answer lies in rarity and demand. In the world of coins, rarity is everything. The fewer examples that exist, the more valuable they become. Add to that the fact that Lincoln pennies are among the most widely collected coins in America, and you have the perfect storm for high prices. Collectors want them, they compete for them, and the prices rise higher and higher. Over time, this humble penny has shocked people with its market value. In auctions, these coins have sold for unbelievable sums. Imagine holding a penny that looks just like the one sitting at the bottom of your drawer, only to learn that it could be worth as much as a brand new car, a college tuition, or even the down payment on a house. It's a reminder that sometimes the most unexpected objects carry incredible worth. The 1992 no-mint mark penny is not just a coin. It is a symbol of possibility. It is proof that even in today's world, where everything feels mass-produced and predictable, there are still treasures waiting to be discovered. Every coin in your hand could be hiding a story, and every penny you glance over could secretly be worth a fortune. Now, here is the part you have been waiting for. How much is this rare 1992 penny without a mint mark actually worth? A regular penny from that year is worth only 1 cent. But when it comes to the rare no-mint mark variety, the value skyrockets. Collectors have been willing to pay staggering sums, and the highest reported value of this coin is an incredible $35,000. Imagine holding a penny in your hand. It feels so ordinary, so small, something you could easily overlook or even drop without thinking twice. But what if I told you that this tiny coin, worth just a single cent, could actually be hiding a story of history, rarity, and even big money? Today we are taking a closer look at the 2008 United States Lincoln 1-cent coin with the Denver mint mark, a coin that on the surface looks like any other, but in certain cases has shocked collectors and surprised treasure hunters with its value. The Lincoln penny has been an American classic since it was first struck in 1909. It became the first coin to feature a real person from history, Abraham Lincoln, whose leadership during the Civil War and his dedication to freedom left an everlasting mark on the nation. Over the decades, the penny design has gone through subtle changes, but the 2008 version represents the final chapter of the classic Lincoln Memorial reverse design before the bicentennial series arrived in 2009. That already makes this coin a little more special, because it sits right on the edge of a major design transition. Now let's talk about the Denver Mint. Coins struck here are marked with a small letter D just under the date. The Denver Mint has been producing coins since 1906, and in 2008 it struck millions of pennies for circulation. For the average person, these coins simply passed from pocket to pocket, buying small things and getting lost in change jars. But for collectors, not every penny is created equal. Some coins slip through with rare minting errors, while others are preserved in breathtaking condition that makes them stand out from the rest. Collectors use grading systems to judge the condition of coins. A penny with scratches, wear, and fading detail is worth little more than face value. But when a coin is preserved in near-perfect condition, with sharp details and blazing luster, its value increases dramatically. The 2008 D penny is one of those coins where certain examples have been discovered in such pristine states that they demand attention, and it's not only about the shine. Sometimes errors like double dies, off-center strikes, or die cracks create unique varieties that are one of a kind. Imagine spotting a Lincoln penny where the lettering looks doubled or where the image is slightly off-center. These small differences that most people ignore can transform a coin into a rare collectible. For coin hunters, finding one is like striking gold. That is why it pays to check your change carefully. The 2008 D penny may seem common, but history shows that common coins can suddenly become treasures depending on condition and rarity. A coin tucked away in a drawer, a roll of pennies saved from the bank, or even a lucky find in circulation could turn out to be a collector's dream. This is the true magic of coin collecting. It reminds us that history, art, and value can be hidden in plain sight. A penny that millions of people barely notice can become the centerpiece of someone's collection and carry a price far greater than anyone would expect. So the next time you see a penny from 2008 with that small D mint mark, do not overlook it. Take a closer look, study the details, hold it up to the light, and ask yourself what story it might be carrying. Because while most of these coins are only worth 1 cent, the rarest and most beautiful examples have been known to sell for as much as $3,000. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button and share it with your friends so they can also discover how pocket change can sometimes turn into a treasure.